essential to our team that we share President Trump's message everywhere and adapt this White House to the new media landscape in 2025. This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. This seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat. My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
Megyn Kelly is melting down because Joy Behar said this. The view Joy Behar, Karoline, was only hired by Donald Trump because she's a 10. You know, that's what it is. How disrespectful is this? This is what Megyn Kelly wrote, not true, and obviously meant to diminish Karoline. Let's face it, this administration, its supporters are making America hot again. It's amazing. So Joy Behar want to take over what we usually say, like they hire these people based on this, based on that. These DI ideologies, they are struggling to turn it around. This is what this lady is saying.
I mean, honestly, I haven't been surprised by anything now. I mean, he's been doing essentially what he actually campaigned on that. He announced he is going to pardon the J6 individuals. He is going to absolutely go after the border. So there's a lot of things that he's already ran on. I mean, criticized a lot of it, and I don't agree with everything either, but it's undeniable he actually ran on that and been really upfront. He's like, I am your reputation, and he's, you know, kind of making those moves. So that's kind of where we're at. Early on, immediately after the election, I was like, hey, you know, we have a choice. You know, we can freak out and follow every other thing around, you know, like a cat, you know, with a laser, you know, after everyone. But I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be that Democrat. You know, for me, there's things I'm going to agree with, I'm going to disagree with, but I'm in the business of finding wins for Pennsylvania and for the nation, and engaging the president. I think I see that as doing my job.
Well said. And I wanted to ask you, so you went down to Mar-a-Lago and met with the president, and he actually was singing your praises after. He said you were fascinating, impressive, a common-sense person. I agree with him on that. Not a liberal or a conservative. I'm curious what your takeaway was from meeting with him, and what, if you found that there's any specific policy areas you think you can work with him on.
Yeah, well, I think overall it was a positive experience. I mean, he was kind, he was cordial. It wasn't in any kind of theater. It wasn't trying to get your picture taken to kind of put something out on social media. It was just really a conversation. I actually spoke for over an hour. And overall, my wife was there, and she might be watching right now at home. Hi, Giselle, if you're home. And she was there as well, too, and we just had a conversation.
I have seen meltdown in different parts of the world. Former president of Kenya, more countries who are upset that Trump won't give blank checks anymore to foreign governments. Why are you crying? Like you can see here, Trump recently released a statement pertaining to this, like this is what they have cut so far. When you take a look at this, 50 million worth of condoms to Gaza, 181 million in DI contract, 1.7 billion payment to foreign organizations, including 40 million to WHO. This is what they have cut so far. So you can understand exactly why Trump is doing this. This is not the first time. When Trump came in during his first administrations, though it was not all countries, there are certain places I saw, you know, crying that Trump cut aid. Now going into a different story.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
What everyone is saying, this is the first time that she's been she may be. But my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
But on the issue of...
Yeah. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason. Because black people couldn't get into colleges. Because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was a person's world. So please stop using that phrase you're talking about because you don't understand what you're saying. You're saying about yourself that, you know, hey, that's a terrible thing to be. It's not a terrible thing to be. That's why we fought. That's what we were fighting for, so that you could stand in that podium, so that Catherine Jean-Pierre could stand at that podium. So women of all kinds of colors and ilks, wherever they came.
Podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House.
Yes, when you take a look at this tweet, President Trump just announced that all federal employees who don't show up to in-person work by February 6 will be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that is what we have been looking to do for many decades. Frankly, this is an absolute game changer. Like you can see, this is a clip. He made it clear that if you don't show up to this date, it is over for you. I saw some federal employees melting down social media like, oh, how will I start now? They are used to working at home. This is the time they have to show up. And this decision Trump took up here, it is vital, important. Yeah. Looking into that department, Elon Musk is working with, I believe this is actually one of their main goals. To me, I appreciate these decisions. Working at home during that COVID period, it could have ended ever since. I don't know why it had to proceed till then. Joy Bear want to take over what we usually say, like they hire these people based on this, based on that. These DEI ideologies, they are struggling to turn it around. This is what this lady is saying. Now going back into what Peter said here about the drones. When I posted a video about this topic, some people were not okay with what the Trump administration is putting out. Like, this is not really okay. People already had a different impression about that drones issue. So Trump coming out to say it was just FFA authorizing for research purposes. People don't want to hear that. They are not happy. If Trump is telling you something, you should actually believe. The Biden administration did not mention this to any person, and people were confused. So, will you be telling me that Trump is also lying? I don't believe so. This is the simple truth. This is what happened. It was just normal for them to stop that tensions in people, and we didn't see that. For people who usually question why I put small clip, it is for the algorithm. So when you see videos after this, you can even stop here. You must not watch to the end. God bless you, and share the video.
The EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And because, final point for me, a year and a half is because...
This is the United States.
You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit.
This lady is not. I want to end the video by saying this for people who have been following me. You realize at the end of the day, I usually put videos at the end. This is for the algorithm. If you see this, you can skip. You can watch the video to a certain level and stop.
Where awful things have happened. So
And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are somebody in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on the plane, started getting texts.
So I am evacuating my home.
What we need to do against what we know is right, and these are the results.
Trump is now calling that Governor Newsom should step down.
This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
The situation is beyond control.
For the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
As a country about
yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but it's like, it's sad.
I want to be,
Jim Jordan.
In the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.
And he did this little dance.
Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some.
And then we watch the news or talk to my friends